Traveling through the big business world, I originally wanted to spend my entire life as a salted fish and marry a beautiful lady. Madam got married, but she told me that she is Jie Jiao Yunxiao. A newly married lady, you can't just watch her cool. Fortunately, although the system is late, it's better than not. From then on, there was an extra anomaly in the divine title. Yuanshi Tianzun doesn't know who is against Zhanjiao.Laozi, a sage, dare not be careless. The two Western sages are unwilling to accept it. it.Hongjun Daozu wants to eliminate anomalies. Even Yunxiao wants to pay his respects to this Hunyuan sage. But for Yifan, Madam doesn't need to pay her respects anymore. We haven't seen each other for a long time, so let's cherish it for a while. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1 Husband, my real name is Yunxiao. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Wilderness. An unnamed small mountain. At the foot of the mountain, there is a thatched cottage with red letters of happiness pasted on its door, indicating that a happy event has just been held. Madam, I'm back. This is the second day of our wedding, Madam still needs to make up for it. With this sound, Yifan pushed the door and entered, holding the rabbit that had just been hit back in his hand. Yifan looked at the beautiful figure half leaning on the bed. Red half covered, the snow-white skin contrasts sharply with the surrounding red, making it look even more tempting. Looking up, a face that was exquisitely unattractive was like a finely crafted artwork, more beautiful than any celebrity. This unparalleled beauty is none other than Yifan's newly married wife. Yun'er. As he looked up at Yifan, there was a hint of hesitation in his eyes, as if he had something to say. Husband, I have something. As she spoke, Yun'er stood up, her red face sliding down, and a series of peaks appeared in front of her. Faced with this situation, Yifan didn't have the mood to listen to what Yun'er said. Yun'er, what do you have to say? Let's talk later. After Yifan finished speaking, he had already fallen onto the bed. After a series of ups and downs, Yifan leaned against the bed and looked at Yun'er lying on his chest. He couldn't help but think to himself. This life is also good. That's right, Yifan is not a person from this world, to be precise, he is a traveler. According to Yifan's understanding, this place is similar to a major merchant in China, but he came here for a year but did not receive the necessary golden finger for travelers, let alone the background and strength that defy heaven. Fortunately, there is very little pressure here. Hungry, going out is the mountain. I'm thirsty, there's a small stream not far away. And Yun'er was saved by Yifan 3 months ago. At that time, Yun'er was covered in injuries all over, and Yifan took her home to slowly recuperate. After 3 months of getting along, Yun'er's injury seems to have healed. Yun'er made a commitment to each other, and yesterday the two completed their grand wedding. Yifan believes that it is not unacceptable to live an ordinary life like this all the time. Just as Yifan was enjoying the days ahead, he suddenly remembered that Yun'er seemed to have something to say to him just now. It's just that I'm in a hurry. This is also an unavoidable matter. As a single dog born in a mother's womb, experiencing yesterday's big wedding and having a peerless beauty like Yun'er, it is natural to be unable to resist the taste of eating marrow. Yun'er, did you seem to have something to say just now? Yifan touched Yun'er's head and smiled. Upon hearing these words, Yun'er's face turned ugly. But she knew in her heart that she had to say something. Husband, I am not an ordinary person, but a cultivator, Yun'er gritted her teeth and said in a deep voice. She was originally practicing in the cave, but unfortunately encountered a bottleneck. To break through, she had to come out and look for opportunities. Unexpectedly, during her rest and cultivation, she encountered a great demon with a higher realm than her, and even took advantage of her unpreparedness to sneak an attack on her. Yun'er finally fought to the death and used her treasure to repel the demon. However, she also suffered serious injuries due to exhaustion of her magical power, which was why she was saved by Yi Fan. After 3 months of recuperation, the two fell in love day by day, and it was only yesterday that they got married. Yun'er's idea is very simple. When she got married to Yi Fan, she also changed her environment and experienced the life of an ordinary person, which can be considered as practicing her mood among ordinary people. After 100 years, Yi Fan will leave on his own. 100 years may be a lifetime for an ordinary person, but for her, it's just a flick of a finger. Unexpectedly, just before Yi Fan returned, she received a decree from her teacher to quickly return to the dojo and not stay in the secular world. In this way, she can't accompany Yi Fan anymore. The key is that this kind of thing cannot be kept hidden for long, and she cannot do the act of leaving without saying goodbye. After all, the two of them have feelings. So, Yun'er decided to clarify the matter with Yi Fan. Yi Fan is not surprised but happy. For a cultivator, how could he not know that he has only been here for a year and has not encountered anything? At this moment, Yi Fan's eyes were slightly hotter. If I could follow Yun'er, could I also become a cultivator? And then what? As a traveler, Yi Fan also doesn't want to embarrass him. He wants to turn his hands over for clouds and rain like other protagonists in novels. Yun'er spoke freely and said, "I'm leaving you." Yi Fan's heart skipped a beat and inexplicably thought of a word. Scumbag girl. Is Yun'er dissatisfied with certain aspects of herself and wanting to leave her? It shouldn't be. I can say it for only half an hour. Before crossing over, that would be 1 hour smaller. No, absolutely not. This is an era similar to that of big business. Even if you are scumbags, it should be because you put on your pants and don't recognize anyone. You can't let scumbags give you scumbags. As a passerby, he can't afford to lose that person. Yun'er, what exactly happened? Is there no solution? Yi Fan stared at Yun'er with a serious expression. Yun'er was very helpless and could only speak up about everything. At this point, I can't hide it from you anymore. I originally wanted to accompany you until 100 years later when I returned to my master's school. But just now I received a directive from the teacher that I must return to the scene. Master, you must not disobey your master's orders. Upon hearing these words, Yi Fan took a deep breath and said, "Why do I think so?" So that's it. Yun'er looked puzzled. Was her husband foolish? He's about to leave, but he's not sad. Since you're going back to the venue, why don't I go back with you? Yi Fan Feng chuckled lightly. As a traveler, Yi Fan is alone and completely clings to the kitchen god with his legs and stomach. He can move from home to anywhere. But Yi Fan always feels that something is wrong. Teacher, return to the dojo. I seem to have heard this before, but Yi Fan couldn't remember where he heard it. Upon hearing Yi Fan's words, Yun'er instantly felt like she was clearing the clouds and seeing the blue sky. That's right, I can't stay here, but Yi Fan can go with me. And she really couldn't bear to leave Yi Fan. If Yi Fan also wants to cultivate, with her position in the school, it would be easy for her to become a disciple of the school. After all, the teacher does not consider re-emergence and qualifications when accepting apprenticeship. Besides having oneself, Yi Fan's cultivation resources are not inferior. Yi Fan didn't know that in Yun'er's heart, he had become a soft eater. Yun'er smiled happily and said, "Husband, are you willing to go back to Sanxian Island with me?" Yi Fan's face changed greatly. A flood and famine. Fengshen. Help. Returning to the scene, isn't it his mother practice of intercepting religion at the beginning of the heist? And Xianxia is the dojo for the disciple Sanxiao of Jie Jiao. Thinking about these things, Yi Fan felt a chill surge above his head and looked at Yun'er in front of him with an incredulous expression. Yun'er didn't seem to notice the change on Yi Fan's face, but added, "By the way, I never told you, husband, my real name is Yunxiao." Chapter 2. Delayed System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Clouds in the sky. On the second day of getting married, you told me that you were Yunxiao and also told me about Xianxia Island. Isn't this a trap for people? Fengshen. It's scary to think about it, but both De Luo Jinxian and Zhuansheng have a chance to make it on the list. Moreover, Yi Fan is well aware that the so-called deity sealing refers to a conspiracy against the teachings of Jie Jiao. I don't have a golden finger, let alone a system, how can I survive? Can you survive the second episode just like yourself? Even if he wants to find a niche to live in seclusion, he can't. I am married to Yunxiao, let alone whether I can abandon such a beautiful lady. Even if I grit my teeth and stomp my feet, this cause and effect still exists, and I am afraid I will not escape death. The key is that even if he tells Yunxiao that the divine worship is a conspiracy against the Jie Jiao sect, it won't be long before Xianxia, who explains the sect, will attack the merchants. Shen Gongbao will join the Jie Jiao sect and then invite all the Jie Jiao disciples to come out and die. Your elder brother, my uncle, will be killed. In order to avenge him, you eventually set up the Nine-Bend Yellow River Formation and were defeated. Your sister Qiongxiao and Bixiao fell directly, and you yourself were also suppressed at Qilin Cliff. Soon after, you fell and made it to the list of gods. The question is, can the clouds be trusted? In fact, what cannot be eradicated by intercepting teachings, Yi Fan does not care at all. It involves the clouds, it involves one's own life, and with a year of travel, I have long regarded the clouds as the only relative in this world, and I cannot watch him be killed. The brief shock gave Yi Fan a sense of crisis and powerlessness. At the critical moment when Yi Fan was preparing to die, a cold voice came from the middle. Congratulations to the host, who successfully crossed the flood and wilderness for a year and survived, meeting the conditions for system activation. This system is a clock-in system, and the host can view content related to heart pain on their own. The sudden and mournful voice overjoyed Yi Fan. This is a must-have golden finger for travelers. Although they are late, it is better than nothing. Although I may be a bit late, at least I can see the opportunity. Yi Fan, hurry up and see what the system is really useful for. A panel that only Yi Fan could see appeared. After careful examination, Yi Fan now understands the check.In system. This system cannot be checked in every day, it can only be done after visiting special places and meeting special people. After check.In, the system will randomly reward you. In theory, as long as Yi Fan runs fast, has visited many special places, and meets many special people, even if he signs in 100 times a day. The question is, who and where are they considered special? The system quickly provided an explanation. Special locations in the wilderness, as well as individuals with special identities, can sign in and clock in, and they can also leave the wilderness if they have the opportunity in the future. In the past year, the hosts check.In locations have been Jipai Pass and Sisui Pass, and they have encountered people who can check.In such as Yunxiao, Zhang Guifang, and Han Rong. Yi Fan nodded secretly in his heart, knowing that his place was between Jipai Pass and Sisui Pass, both of which he had also visited. The general of Jipai Pass is Zhang Guifang, who has fought against Shiqi. The commander.In. Chief of Sisui Pass is Han Rong, who is the longest-lived defender of the 5 passes. However, Yi Fan regretted it a bit. After traveling for a year, why not take a walk and take a look? It's all about traveling, and he can still accumulate check.In times. It's good now, only 5 times. Yi Fan didn't even think about who was worried about accidents and didn't dare to wander around. Fortunately, 5 times is better than nothing. Open it first before speaking. System, open it. Yi Fan said silently in his heart. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Great Dao Xuanfa through check.In. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 100-year cultivation by checking in. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 wash marrow pill. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 1 3 transformations gold pill. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the innate treasure, Hongmeng seal. Yi Fan can't wait to check out the 5 rewards. The Great Dao Xuanfa is a cultivation method with no limit. This unlimited confused Yi Fan. What is unlimited? The wash marrow pill can wash away dirt all over the body and become an innate Dao body. Its cultivation speed is thousands of times faster than that of ordinary people. Many creatures born in ancient times are innate Dao bodies. Seeing the introduction of this marrow-washing pill, Yi Fan couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. In theory, the 3 transformations golden pill can elevate living beings to the realm of Xianxia, provided that they can resist the pain and not die. And if ordinary people want to become Xianxia, they must first become Dixian. Below the earth immortal lies the body of mortals. To cultivate to the earth immortal, mortals need to go through 3 major realms. Refining essence and transforming chi, refining chi and transforming spirit, and refining spirit and returning to the void, before becoming the earth immortal. Above the earth immortals are heavenly immortals, Xianxian, Zhenxian, Jinxian, Tai Jinxian, Daoyuo Jinxian, Xuansheng, and sage. But Yi Fan is not even capable of refining essence and transforming chi. If he wants to resist the 3 transformations golden pill and become a Xianxian, it is no different from seeking death, unless he is protected by people above the golden immortal level. As for the innate treasure, the Hongmeng seal has a relatively single merit, with only 2 abilities. Concealment and simulated breath. Even saints cannot see through it, making it the top-level auxiliary treasure. Yi Fan took a deep breath, and the 5 clock in rewards truly fulfilled all his needs from bottom to top. The wash marrow pill can allow the person to obtain an innate Dao body, and 100 years of cultivation can help them break through. As for whether they can become an earth immortal, it is unknown. As long as you work hard and become a celestial being, and eat the 3 transformations of the golden pill, you can steadily become a Xianxian. There is also the Great Dao Xuanfa, which at first glance is a good cultivation method, and an unlimited one can explain everything. You should know that it is not a joke for a system to produce high-quality products. With the addition of the Hongmeng seal, as long as he can survive, it is likely that Hongjun Daozu will find it difficult to find himself and kill him. Moreover, Hongjun Daozu cannot have no pattern and cause trouble for himself. Of course, Yi Fan cannot ignore the clouds. This is his own wife, and he is also a peerless beauty. He doesn't want to watch the peerless beauty disappear. Moreover, one can constantly clock in and out, and as long as there are many times, it is possible to quickly become a Deluo Jin Xian or even a quasi-saint in a short period of time. Even if one becomes a saint, it seems possible. At first glance, there's nothing to worry about even the Fengshen Liangjie. Chapter 3. Soft Rice Man Leaving in the Sky. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yi Fan's only concern now is how to become a celestial being. 100 years of cultivation is definitely not enough. It seems that I can only go out for a walk and sign in more often. Only in this way can one's realm be elevated and the sky be protected. Yunxiao watched as Yi Fan's face changed, unaware that it was due to the system. He thought it was his own words that had a significant impact on Yi Fan. Suddenly, a thought came to Yunxiao's mind. Don't Yi Fan want to go back to Sanxian Island with him? Husband, are you willing to go back to Sanxian Island with me? Yunxiao looked at Yi Fan with concern and asked. This also brought Yi Fan back. Yi Fan looked at the stunning cloud in front of him and couldn't help but gently stroke his cheek, his heart trembling slightly. This is a disciple of Jie Jiao, but he is also his wife and his only relative in the wilderness. Anyway, I can never look at the list of gods on the sky. What if you want to be enemies with the 4 saints? What can we do against Hongjun Daozu? To blame, we can only blame them for their misfortune. If you want to blame me, you can only blame me for having a system, but you don't. For the sake of my future happiness, I must participate in this deity. Feeling Yi Fan's love, Yunxiao felt a little worried. He also touched Yi Fan's face with his jade hand and gently said, "Husband, what's wrong with you?" Yi Fan looked at the worry in Yunxiao's eyes and made up his mind. And Yi Fan has already decided that he cannot return to Sanxian Island with Yunxiao. If you stay on Sanxian Island, the rewards in the check.In system will be very low, and it is impossible for you to become a quasi-saint, or even a saint. Don't even think about changing your life against the sky and saving Yunxiao. Just as Yi Fan was about to speak, Yunxiao also made up his mind. Husband, now you have two choices. One is to come back to Sanxian Island with me. With me, it's not a problem for you to break through the shackles of mortals and become a Xianxian or even a true immortal. You and I can always be together. Secondly, if you stay here, I can guarantee your prosperity in this lifetime, without illness or disaster. Although Yunxiao may not be the direct disciple of the heavenly sect leader, she is also the core of an external sect. In fact, her strength has already reached the realm of the great Luo Golden Immortal. Even if Yi Fan's bone aptitude is the worst, she can still make Yi Fan achieve something. This is not a big talk, but the confidence of the clouds, and more importantly, the essence of the teachings. Yunxiao looked at Yi Fan with an expectant expression, hoping that Yi Fan could choose the first one. Being with Yi Fan for a few months, although incomparable to his countless years of cultivation. But during this period, Yunxiao also experienced happiness that had not been experienced in countless years. Yi Fan looked serious and said, "Yuner, I want to cultivate." Seeing Yi Fan make a choice, Yunxiao's eyes lit up and a happy smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Because of this, she doesn't have to violate the decree of the heavenly sect leader and can still be with Yi Fan. Okay, let's go back to Sanxian Island now. After Yunxiao finished speaking, he wanted to pull Yi Fan away. Yi Fan shook his head and said, "Yuner, I want to cultivate, but I won't go to Sanxian Island." As soon as these words were spoken, the smile that had originally remained on Yunxiao's face instantly solidified. Yi Fan quickly touched Yunxiao's face and said with a smile, "Yun listen to me first. I'm not going, it's not that I haven't been going, but that I'm not going now. I want to cultivate on my own, and then go to the Three Immortals Island to find you when I have achieved something. You don't want your classmates to laugh at you in the future, do you? You don't want them to make fun of you when they mention me. It's because of you that I can cultivate." These words made Yunxiao feel a bit dazed. In Yunxiao's view, Yi Fan did it for his own face and also for her own consideration. In Yi Fan's heart, he couldn't afford to eat soft rice. "Yuner, think about it. Meeting you shows that you are experiencing it alone, and I also hope to experience it alone so that we can achieve success. If I stay on Sanxian Island all the time, my achievements won't be too high, and it will even affect your cultivation," Yi Fan said with a deep smile. Yunxiao's face was originally normal, but when she heard the words behind her, her face turned red. She understood the meaning of Yi Fan's words. After all, they had just done it. "Don't worry, my goal is not to be a true immortal or a mysterious immortal. I want to surpass you, so that you can walk out and say, 'I am Yi Fan's wife' honestly, instead of being ridiculed," Yi Fan said arrogantly. But to Yunxiao, he thought Yi Fan was silly and cute. Beyond oneself. Is it a quasi-saint? Do Yi Fan know what realm is above the Golden Immortal? Do you know what quasi-saint is? However, seeing Yi Fan think so, Yunxiao definitely supports him. Perhaps when Yi Fan encounters a wall, he will come back to find himself. Yunxiao's right hand twitched and he had 2 more pills in his hand. There is an inexplicable power hidden on the pill. "Husband, I am very happy that you said that, and I respect your choice. This is the mortal pill and the dust pill. The Filiaofan Dan can make you leap into the realm of an immortal, while the Chuchen Dan can make you a celestial being. You have become a celestial being. Even if your future experiences outside have no effect, you can still come to Sanxian Island to find me," Yunxiao said passionately.
In fact, Fan Dan is also considered precious in teaching. Today, except for those who were originally able to go to Jinao Island to listen to the teachings of the leader of the Tongtian sect, the rest are all disciples who go out and then take them in. But with such a large amount of intercepting teachings, it is impossible to produce a group of mortal disciples, so the mortal pill has become a pill to help these disciples. Moreover, the fact that Jie Jiao was not good at alchemy further highlights the preciousness of ordinary pills. On the contrary, the dust pill is slightly inferior. In Yi Fan's heart, he was considered to be eating a soft meal. Fortunately, Yi Fan is not the kind of person who speaks hard. He knows that with these two pills and the system, he should be able to quickly become a Xianxia, and he has a certain ability to protect himself. At least he can quickly go to other places to sign in. Yun Zhao's right hand was flipping over, and he had a seemingly ordinary spiritual jade in his hand. Husband, I have another cultivation technique here that I learned on my own from the teacher's preaching. You can directly cultivate it. Additionally, I am giving you a spiritual jade that contains my 3 divine attacks. In times of crisis, it can protect you from harm. Yi Fan was moved in his heart, which already showed his position in the heart of the clouds, otherwise he wouldn't have thought so comprehensively. Thank you very much, Yuner. Yi Fan was not pedantic and directly took the elixir and spirit jade. Yun Xiao touched Yi Fan's face and said with a reluctant expression, Husband, I must go back to Sanxian Island immediately. This is the decree of the Heavenly Master, and Yun Xiao dare not delay it anymore. If you feel tired, come to Sanxian Island. With me around, no one dares to touch you. After speaking, Yun Xiao kissed Yi Fan's cheek and disappeared directly. Chapter 4. Discussions among the 4 saints. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Without the figure of the clouds, Yi Fan was speechless. Is it so urgent? Can't we just wait one more night? For newlyweds, there are some things they really want to do more. However, the clouds have all left, and Yi Fan is also preparing to start practicing. First, I took out the wash marrow pill, took a bite, and started washing myself. Outside the 3 Immortals Island, a long rainbow cuts through the sky. Before Changhong could land, a coquettish voice came. Who dares to trespass on my Sanxian Island? Then Changhong landed and fell behind the opponent. Yun Xiao looked at the woman in a light green long dress and scolded with a smile, Bixiao, how long have I been away? You've had a lot of courage. Bixiao turned around and saw that it was Yun Xiao. Her cold face instantly showed a smile. Big sister, you're back. When you went out to play, you didn't bring me with you. Bixiao pouted with some dissatisfaction. Upon hearing these words, Yun Xiao looked serious and said, Take you with you. Have you broken through your realm? One sentence made Bixiao dumbfounded and afraid to say anything. Among the 3 celestial realms, Yun Xiao has the highest realm. Now it has reached the peak of the Daoyuo Golden Immortal, and Xiong Xiao has also reached the middle stage of the Daoyuo Golden Immortal. Only Bixiao remains at the peak of the Tai Golden Immortal. Bixiao hesitated for a moment and immediately found an excuse. I'll go out and explore, maybe I'll encounter opportunities, maybe I'll improve my mind, and then I'll break through. Unexpectedly, these words reminded Yun Xiao of Yi Fan. Isn't it because she went out to seek opportunities that she was ambushed while practicing and eventually met Yi Fan? Yun Xiao unconsciously wondered what Yi Fan was doing at this moment. Seeing that Yun Xiao didn't answer, Bixiao immediately thought she guessed right and said, Sister, I'm right. You should let me out. Before Yun Xiao could speak, a person from afar said, Little sister, stop playing around. The teacher has issued a decree that we must close the mountain gate tightly and not interfere in worldly affairs. The elder sister has already returned. Why are you still going out? Someone dressed in red, this is Qiong Xiao from the 3 Xiaos. This also reminded Yun Xiao, second sister, what happened? Why did the teacher issue such a decree? Upon hearing Yun Xiao's question,
Qiong Zhao's face became solemn and she said, "I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but the teacher said, the great apocalypse of the gods is coming. We, the disciples who taught us, will be able to close the mountain gate and get through this catastrophe." Catastrophe. As one of the earliest disciples to intercept teachings and also a core external disciple, how could she not be unaware of the terror of the catastrophe? Yunxiao immediately thought to himself. Will Yi Fan be in danger? Should I bring Yi Fan back to Xianxia Island? But since I have already returned, doesn't going out again mean violating the teacher's decree? Sister, what are you thinking? Bixiao's voice rang in Yunxiao's ear. Yunxiao would definitely not say anything about Yi Fan. After all, getting married is also a bit embarrassing for her. Fortunately, I left a spiritual jade for Yi Fan. Yi Fan should not have any problems, just wait for him to come. Yunxiao glared at Bixiao and said, "What else can you think of?" "I'm thinking about when you can break through and become the great Luo Golden Immortal." Kunlun Mountain Yushu Palace. After accepting Jiang Zia and Shen Gongbao as disciples, Yuanshi Tianzun bestowed the title of deity in his hands. Now, he has summoned the saints of Laozi, Jiayin, and Zhuanti to gather in the Yushu Palace. At that time, Hongjun Daozu summoned the 6 saints to the Zixiao Palace for a meeting. After 3 negotiations, they signed a list of deities and had Yuanshi Tianzun secretly contact the other 3 saints, deciding to target the Tongtian sect leader unanimously. The list of 3 merchants offering divine titles appears to be signed by the 6 saints, but in reality, there are not many names on it. Ultimately, who makes it to the list depends entirely on their abilities. And with a large number of disciples who are known as the 10,000 immortals coming to the court, it is only appropriate for them to be included in the list. In addition, with the strong power of Jie Jiao and the joint efforts of disciples from various sects, they may not necessarily be opponents of Jie Jiao disciples without being considered saints. So when the list of gods was obtained, the primordial heavenly lord immediately summoned the other 3 saints. At this moment, there is some solemnity in the Jade Void Palace. After a moment, the sage Laozi first broke the calm. Tong Tian has recalled his disciples and closed the mountain gate tightly. It may not be so easy to get them to participate in the list. The nearby Saint Zhuanti immediately became displeased upon hearing these words and said, "So what if we close the mountain gate tightly? I'll go to their dojo and kill a few disciples who have intercepted the teachings to make it to the list." Yuanshi Tianzun and Laozi Saint looked at Zhuanti Saint with a foolish gaze. Even the sage couldn't help but move his buttocks slightly, as if saying, "I'm not familiar with this fool. However, my own junior brother can only speak on his own and cannot let others speak. Isn't that a slap in the face? Junior brother, think carefully before speaking. We cannot take action on the matter of sealing the gods until the critical moment. Once we take action against the disciples of the intercepted teachings, how can Tong Tian sit idly by? Even if he doesn't target us, but our disciples, wouldn't our disciples be unlucky too?" The sage said helplessly. Even if the sage is impulsive, he will not let his own disciples take risks. He also understood, and it would be better for his disciples to take action on this matter. The sage turned his head to look at the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord and Laozi Sage and said, "It's difficult to get the disciples of Jie Jiao to take action directly, but I've calculated that the luck of the great merchants is not much, and many of Jie Jiao's disciples are officials in the great merchants. As long as we let the great merchants lose their virtue, we can send people to fight against them. If those disciples in the great merchants are in trouble, the others of Jie Jiao will definitely not sit idly by. When we kill them again, we can send them to the list." The sage Yuanshi and others secretly calculated that they had indeed calculated that the great business luck was approaching. But the current Emperor Xian is still decent. Even if the Great Shang is finished, the Great Shang can still retreat completely. If he were to lose his virtue, it would probably be a different situation. Now that the sage has proposed this idea, Laozi, the sage, and Yuanshi Tianzun naturally agree. Yuanshi Tianzun said in a deep voice, I have the list of gods in my hands, and the matter of suppression should also be my teachings. I'm afraid that if it causes the emperor to lose his virtue, it will require the action of a Taoist friend. The sage is well aware that this is a life that offends people. It's better to do things that offend others on your own than to have bad luck with your disciples. Okay, I'll leave this matter to the Western Church, the sage agreed and took on the task. Truncation is powerful, weakening it is his goal, but in the hearts of the sage, he wants to take this opportunity to strengthen himself. Okay, since that's the case, that's settled, said Yuanshi Tianzun. The preliminary plan was made, and the two Western sages also left. As the sage Laozi was about to leave, Yuanshi Tianzun couldn't help but ask, "Senior brother, what do you think of this plan?" Feasible. However, Tong Tian's ability to develop Jie Jiao to the present day cannot be underestimated. After speaking, the sage also left. Yuanshi Tianzun looked outside the Yushu palace with a hint of killing intent in his eyes. Although Jie Jiao is strong, can he surpass the alliance of the four saints? As long as the intercepted disciples make it to the list, elucidation is the greatest sect in the wilderness. A few days later, a powerful spell appeared in Yi Fan's room. The magic is like a vortex, and the surrounding magic is absorbed. Fortunately, the place where Yi Fan lived was relatively remote and did not attract the attention of others. A moment later, a figure walked out of the house. Yi Fan moved his feet and his figure appeared on the sky. Chapter 5. System Dad Thoughtful Rewards. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Compared to before, the breath on Yi Fan's body has undergone earth-shattering changes. He has an extremely strong aura and a deep gaze, like a star. With a sound of white clothes, he looks quite ethereal, as if he is banished to the mortal world. In fact, everything that happened these days made Yi Fan feel a bit unreal. I thought that by crossing over, I would live a peaceful life and eventually die peacefully. Unexpectedly, his own marriage ended up with his wife being in the clouds, causing him to be completely entangled in the fiefdom. Fortunately, with the system and rewards, Yi Fan first used the wash marrow pill to wash away impurities from his body, making himself an innate Dao body. Then, he integrated the 100-year cultivation reward from the system, making him leap into an earth immortal. It is difficult for an ordinary person to become an earth immortal for 100 years, even if they want to cultivate step by step to become an earth immortal without any disasters or difficulties and have a deep chance. But Yi Fan has an innate Dao body and a cultivation speed that far exceeds that of ordinary people, so 100 years of cultivation is enough to make him an immortal. Subsequently, taking the dust removal pill allowed Yi Fan to break through his realm once again and become a heavenly immortal. Following closely behind, Yi Fan took the 3 transformations golden pill and became a Xianxia. Surprisingly, Yi Fan has an innate Dao body, which is 100 times stronger than others in terms of understanding the realm and absorbing magic. This not only makes Yi Fan a Xianxia, but also allows him to directly break through his realm to the peak of Xianxia. Originally, Yi Fan thought it was an unexpected joy. Unexpectedly, after eating the last useless elixir, Yi Fan reluctantly became a true immortal in the early stage. The elixir could have made ordinary people become earthly immortals, but it's useless for the Xianxian to eat it. There is no way, who gives Yi Fan an innate Dao body and cultivates the systematic reward of the great Dao Xuanfa. With multiple blessings, Yi Fan barely breaks through, but his realm is very unstable. Even if it took a few days for Yi Fan to become a true immortal, he couldn't be happy. Zhenxian looks good, but there are also Jin Xian, Tai Jin Xian, Daoyuo Jin Xian, Zhuansheng, and even saints on it. If you want to reverse your divine status, relying solely on the realm of true immortality is no different from talking about dreams like a fool. However, Yi Fan felt that he was also systematic, and the speed of improving his realm would not be too slow. Of course, today Yi Fan is also considering a question. What should he do on his path of cultivation in the future? After much thought, it is impossible for the Heavenly Way sage to do so. Let alone say that he does not have the Hongmeng purple qi. Even if he does, he will not do it. Once you become a saint of the heavenly way, you will be suppressed by Hongjun Daozu, which is not what Yi Fan wants. The rest is the position of the Hunyuan sage. Believing in the presence of a system, one should not be able to reach this level in much time. However, in order to reverse the fate of being a god, one cannot achieve that day and must take action now. After all, the leader of the Tongtian sect values the friendship between the three pure ones and believes that by commanding his disciples to close the mountain gate tightly, they can pass the fiefdom. However, he is unaware that the primordial heavenly Lord has long united with the other three saints. And the first step is to make the emperor lose his virtue. If you want to make the emperor lose his virtue, that is to write a poem by Emperor Xian. If Yi Fan remembers correctly, this matter was personally done by the sage Xuandi, and he must change it himself. As for how to change, Yi Fan has already figured it out, which is to let Empress Nyuwa know the truth of the matter. After calculating the time, Yi Fan immediately realized that tomorrow was the birthday of Empress Nyuwa. It's a close call, fortunately I cleared the level today, otherwise I would have missed it. Yi Fan dared not neglect and went straight to Chaoga. If Yi Fan guessed correctly, Nyuwa Temple should be able to clock in. If you see Nyuwa Empress, the reward for checking in should not be wrong. Wait, Dixin is also a key figure, he should be able to clock in as well. No, not only Emperor Xian, but also big business officials like Shang Rong and Baigan should be able to open up. Although they are not big shots, they should not be inferior to Zhang Guifang and Han Rong. Although Zhang Guifang was able to suppress Shiqi according to her original divine title, it was also one of the reasons why Emperor Xian lost virtue. It is not an exaggeration to say that this was also a straw weighing on the camel's body. For Yi Fan, although grasshopper legs are small, they are also flesh. Besides, I am only in the early stage of becoming a true immortal. Signing in with someone like this is very likely to elevate my current level. Thinking of these, Yi Fan became excited. The next day, Chaoga, Nyuwa Temple. Today is the birthday of Empress Nyuwa, and the great merchant Emperor Xian personally came to Nyuwa Temple to offer incense. As a result, many people came around, and the civil and military officials of the great merchant guarded around. At this moment, Yi Fan has appeared next to the Nyuwa Temple. Taking a glance around, Emperor Xian did not arrive, and it is likely that the Saint Xuandi did not either. Yi Fan quickly thought about what he should do. I am only in the realm of true immortality, and it is impossible to appear. Even if a saint blows a sigh, he can spray himself to death. Fortunately, with the Hongmeng seal, one can hide their own breath. As long as one does not actively appear, the Xuandi sage will definitely not discover oneself. The question is, how should I expose this matter even though I know that the saint of Xuandi will take action? The circular light technique is such a divine ability that it can record some things, and even Yi Fan, such a small divine ability, can do it. The problem is that when using such a divine power, there will inevitably be fluctuations in magical power, and the righteous sage will inevitably discover it. Yi Fan was somewhat speechless. System, can I clock in and sign in at Nyuwa Temple? Yi Fan asked in his own sea of knowledge. Sure. Check in, sign in. Yi Fan didn't waste his time and just checked in, hoping to get what he needed. Congratulations to the host for successfully checking into the Nyuwa Temple to reward the innate spiritual treasure in the Shantian realm. This is a treasure that Yi Fan has never heard of. Yi Fan immediately checked, and after receiving the relevant introduction, he almost shouted. System Dad, you are so kind, so thoughtful. Originally, the Shantian realm could explore any place within the range of the heavenly Tao, which was no different from the Haotian mirror in the hand of the Jade Emperor. But the Shantian realm can even be viewed by the Sage Dojo. If Yi Fan becomes a saint, when inspecting the Sage Dojo, the sage will not be able to notice. The key is that it can also be recorded. This is an innate treasure without any attack or defense capabilities, but it is the most suitable for Yi Fan at this moment. Although the Xiantian realm also requires magical power to activate, the Hongmeng seal is hidden, and even the Zhundi saint cannot detect it, which is much stronger than the round light technique. If it were the round light technique, it would have to be used, and with the Xiantian realm in hand and only the Hongmeng seal, Yi Fan felt that this wave was stable. As long as all of this is recorded and exposed in front of Empress Nyua, she will definitely believe in herself. After all, evidence comes first, it's better than empty words without evidence. Once Empress Nyua believes in herself, even if she cannot be persuaded to intercept teachings, at least she will not send the three demons to cause trouble for the merchants. Even Empress Nyua may have resorted to Western teachings, and the reason for Jiang Ziya's attack on merchants no longer exists. Relying on Shiqi's strength to forcefully attack the great merchants, the outcome is uncertain. It seems that the reversal of Fengshen will start from the Nyua temple. Yi Fan no longer hesitated, stirring up the Xiantian realm while also stirring up the Hongmeng seal. As treasures rewarded by the system, they are naturally directly refined by Yi Fan. Of course, it is not within the realm of Yi Fan's ability to activate these two treasures. Fortunately, both treasures are auxiliary and do not require much mana. The reason for using it now is because Yi Fan saw that Emperor Xian had arrived. Chapter 6. Emperor Xian's inscription of poems. Daozu seems to have some feelings towards me. You are listening at novel full.audio. As a human emperor, Emperor Xian still has the necessary ostentation. The mighty team protected around the civil and military officials, who then placed Emperor Xian at the center. Under the protection of civil and military officials, Emperor Xian arrived at the Nyua temple. It has to be admitted that Emperor Xian is truly an emperor, and his aura of being an emperor is evident and intimidating. If it weren't for the calculation of the four saints, the sage Zhundi would have personally bewitched and instructed Emperor Xian to write a poem blaspheming Empress Nyua, ultimately attracting the three demons of Xianyuan tomb. It would not have been so easy for De Shang to die, at least not in the hands of Emperor Xian. The key is that after Emperor Xian, there will be no more emperors, and the human race will also become vassals. However, Yi Fan's travel time was too late, and he probably couldn't change all of this. At this moment, the sound of the system went crazy in Yi Fan's ears. If the host encounters Emperor Xian, please check in. When the host encounters the Prime Minister of a major business for comparison, they can clock in. Detected. A series of reminders made Yi Fan's head buzzing. However, Yi Fan now belongs to pain and happiness. This time, even if nothing can be changed, Yi Fan feels that he is not at a disadvantage. Check in all. Yi Fan reminded the system without hesitation. Congratulations to the host for checking in at Chaoga City and rewarding them with the top. Quality innate spirit treasure 5 elements Taoist robe. Congratulations to the host's check that in person, Emperor Xian. Reward the divine power of one mind for millions of miles. Congratulations to the host for checking in and participating in the business competition. Reward them with a 5-turn golden pill. Congratulations to the host for checking in on the big business platform. Reward 4 rounds of golden pills. Congratulations to the host for checking in. Listening to the system's broadcast, Yi Fan's mouth cracked with a smile. The 5 elements Taoist robe may seem like a Taoist robe, but in reality, it is a defensive treasure. Reading a million miles is definitely a way to escape. It's not right, it's a great skill to drive on, much faster than magical powers like the golden light technique on the vertical ground. Although the vertical golden light technique is fast, there are still traces. With just one movement of the heart, it can appear millions of miles away, provided that there is enough mana support. If the mana is insufficient, then I'm sorry. It's normal to travel hundreds of miles. According to Yi Fan's speculation, if he were to cast millions of spells for a year, with his magic, he could still barely achieve it with just one thought for 10,000 miles. Yi Fan looked at the other rewards and found that the 4-turn golden pill can elevate Xianxia to true immortal, while the 5-turn golden pill can elevate one's realm to golden immortal. Although Yi Fan is now a true immortal, his realm is unstable. With the 4 transformations of the golden pill, the realm of true immortals has not only stabilized, but can also be greatly improved. With the 5 transformations of the golden pill, it should not be a problem to elevate to the level of golden immortal. It's hard to say to what extent it can be elevated to the golden immortal. At the same time, Emperor Xian has already begun to pray for blessings. At this moment, a figure appeared in the sky without anyone noticing. A proud smile appeared in the eyes of this person, who was exactly the saint of Zhuanti. You should know that Emperor Xian is a human emperor, protected by the aura of the human race. Even a saint cannot be killed casually. Fortunately, Zhuanti is a saint. Although he cannot directly deal with Dixin, it is still possible to confuse him slightly. A cold light flashed in the eyes of the sage Zhuanti, and with a wave of his hand, a spiritual light fell into the body of Empress Xian of Nuwa Temple. Yi Fan did not see the saint of Zhuanti, and of course, the saint of Zhuanti did not notice Yi Fan either. However, when the sage Zhuanti took action, Yi Fan saw the spiritual light, which was also recorded by the Xiantian realm. The next moment, Emperor Xian's eyes paused, and after returning to normal, he just looked up and saw the light veil blowing up on the statue of Empress Nuwa. Emperor Xian immediately stated that he wanted to write a poem. Baigan and others did not stop, thinking that Emperor Xian would write a poem praising Empress Nuwa. Later, the poem written by Emperor Xian caused a big change in the faces of everyone present. Emperor Xian wrote, "The Hunyuan treasure tent is very beautiful, full of exquisite mud and gold decorations. Choo-choo, the distant mountains fly with emerald colors, dancing gracefully with sleeves reflecting the rosy clouds. Pear blossoms with rain compete for beauty, peony cages with smoke invite beauty. But with the enchanting ability to act, retrieve the Changle companion king." Baigan and others were almost scared to death, so they quickly suggested that Emperor Xian wash it off with clean water and apologize to Empress Dowager Nuwa, begging for her forgiveness. Unexpectedly, Xian paid no attention and instead said that he praised the beauty of Empress Nuwa. Xian then left, and Baigan and Shangrong quickly took clean water, washed away the poems on it, and then knelt down to apologize before finally leaving. However, when the few people left, the handwriting on the wall reappeared. Subsequently, the sage also silently left. In fact, if this poem is written on any woman in the mortal world, she will feel flattered and amazed. But this is the Nuwa temple, blaspheming the Nuwa Empress. Nuwa Empress is the holy mother of the human race, one of the 6 saints. No one can profane any identity she chooses. Originally, Empress Nuwa went to Hunyuan cave to gather with the 3 emperors and 5 emperors. It was not until evening that Empress Nuwa came to Chaoga to see the emperor's offerings to her. When Empress Nuwa arrived at Nuwa temple, she felt the arrival of Emperor Xian and the worship, and was still very happy in her heart. Turning her head, the Queen Mother saw the poem on the wall. Nyang was instantly furious. If this can be tolerated, is she still a saint? Empress Nuwa didn't waste her time either. She went straight to the sky above the palace and was ready to take action. At this moment, Empress Dowager Nuwa saw the luck on Yin Hong's body, and she had to stop. Yin Jiao and Yin Hong were the sons of Emperor Xian, both of whom had strong qi luck, indicating that the great merchants also had good qi luck. If she were to take action, Empress Nuwa knew that she might also be in trouble. Madame Nuwa's eyes were filled with evil energy, and she couldn't help but mutter to herself, "Isn't the fortune of the great merchants prosperous? Then this seat will disrupt your fortune of the great merchants." There were some things that Empress Nuwa immediately had an idea. In the eyes of Empress Nuwa, this was all brought on by Emperor Xian himself. Just as Empress Nuwa was preparing to return to the Wa Palace in a fit of anger, a voice rang in her ear. "Friend, wait a moment." The sudden sound shook An Yua's heart. "I am a saint, and there are others around me who I haven't noticed yet. Moreover, the other party also refers to themselves as Taoist friends. Is it possible that the other party is also a saint?" In the entire wilderness, those who were qualified to call her a Taoist friend could definitely count them with both hands, but there was no such voice. An Yua couldn't help but turn around and take a closer look. Not far away, a man in white is quietly looking at himself. Not Sanqing, nor the two saints of the West, nor anyone she is familiar with. Yua's mother's eyes showed a chill. Being desecrated by Emperor Xian is a great shame in the eyes of Empress An Yua. She must react before others know about it, otherwise she will lose face. Now the person in front of her unexpectedly noticed that a chill appeared in the eyes of An Yua, who was already burning with anger. Just as Empress An Yua was about to take action, Yi Fan decided to take the initiative, otherwise he would have exposed his own secrets. Yi Fan sneered at the corners of his mouth and said lightly, "Humph." With the cold snort of Zhen Yuanzi, a powerful pressure erupted from his body, even the clouds in the sky were dispersed. The Empress An Yua was startled by the pressure. Although the pressure disappeared in a flash, it made Empress An Yua feel that the other party's strength was not weaker than her, even stronger than herself. "What's going on? Taoist friends seem to be a bit dissatisfied with me." Surprisingly, Chapter 7 has been calculated on this seat. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Empress An Yua was still considering who this person was when she heard that Yi Fan was dissatisfied, and her attitude immediately underwent a 180-degree turn. There's no way, in the wilderness, everything is up to one's strength. Empress An Yua chuckled lightly and said, "This seat is not aimed at you, it's just that you have lost your composure due to Emperor Xian's anger. I hope you can forgive me. I don't know my friend's name, what's the point of calling this seat?" Yi Fan breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the change in attitude of Empress An Yua. It seems that Yi Fan's performance is calm, but in fact, his fart is almost scared cold. I am a true immortal, but the other person is a saint. If Empress An Yua really took action, she would instantly feel cool. Don't be fooled by Yi Fan's strong momentum just now, it was actually simulated by Hong Mengyin. As long as Empress An Yua takes action, she will immediately reveal her true form. Fortunately, I carefully observed Empress An Yua and saw the chill in her eyes. Otherwise, daring to pretend in front of Empress Dowager An Yua would be light, and losing both form and spirit would be a good thing. If one were to be tormented by Empress An Yua and not be able to survive or die, that would be tragic. Fortunately, I barely passed the level now. However, Yi Fan said calmly, the reason why Xianxia calls you Daozu is because he doesn't want to see you being used and played with like a monkey. Yi Fan gave himself a very charming name, and this thing is definitely something that comes with his mouth open. But this statement made the Empress An Yua somewhat puzzled. Was she being used by others? What is the situation? How could it be? Please be frank with your fellow Taoist, Yuan Yangyang asked after her. Yi Fan is not talking nonsense, summoning the Xiantian realm. As soon as the Xiantian realm emerged, Empress An Yua's gaze instinctively turned towards it. What appeared on the Xiantian realm was the An Yua temple, but it showed daytime inside. But what is recorded above is before Emperor Xian entered the An Yua temple, and it takes a little time to see the critical moment. Just as Empress An Yua was looking at the Xiantian realm, the sound of the system rang in Yi Fan's ears. Detected the host encountering An Yua, do you want to clock in? Yi Fan couldn't help but tremble in his heart. He was too nervous just now and forgot about checking in. What is in front of me is Empress An Yua, one of the 6 saints, the ceiling of all sentient beings in the wilderness. What can I do to clock in on her? An excited heart, a trembling heart. It is impossible for her hands to tremble. If she were to tremble, wouldn't An Yua have noticed it? Is this saint really a fool to be the goddess of Nuwa? Yi Fan tried his best to calm his mind and said in his heart, check in. Congratulations to the host for successfully checking in with Lady Nuwa and rewarding the Chaos Spirit Treasure Chaos Tower. What? Chaos Spirit Treasure. Yi Fan thought he had heard wrong. Chaos Spirit Treasure, there are not many items in the entire wilderness. The Heavenly Divine Axe, Chaos Green Lotus, and Creation Jade Plate are all top-notch chaos spiritual treasures. But these chaotic spiritual treasures evolved after the founding of heaven, becoming many innate treasures and top-notch innate spiritual treasures. It is not an exaggeration to say that in the wilderness, almost all those who can call the top-quality innate spiritual treasures are related to these few chaotic spiritual treasures, and there are really not many that have not been closed. Even the creation jade plate in the hands of Hongjun Daozu is not complete. Now I have actually obtained a chaos spirit treasure. Even if I haven't heard of it before, it's still a chaotic spiritual treasure. Yi Fan tried his best to restrain his excitement and examine everything about the Chaos Tower. Originally, this Chaos Tower is an evolution of the Tao, with its own space that can suppress all things. It also contains the law of the Tao of time. Practicing inside for a day is stronger than practicing outside for 100 days. The premise is that whether it is suppressing everything or accelerating time, corresponding strength needs to be matched. Without that strength, it is impossible to suppress all things, and one can only cultivate when the Chaos Tower accelerates its own time. This is currently the only benefit for Yi Fan. Of course, Yi Fan still has a lot to read because Empress Nuwa spoke up. Taoist friend, what is this for our audience to see? Empress Nuwa became impatient. Due to Yi Fan's strength, Empress Nuwa recognized his abilities, but also did not allow anyone to entertain her. What is recorded in the Xiantian realm as Emperor Xian's arrival at the Nuwa temple, all the way to praying for blessings and offering incense? Don't you know it yourself? Seeing that Empress Nuwa was a bit anxious, Yi Fan's right hand swiped on the Xiantian realm, which was equivalent to fast forward. Taoist friend, look again. Yi Fan remained calm. At this moment, a scene appeared in the Xiantian realm where Emperor Xian was preparing to stand up and a spiritual light entered his body. As Emperor Xian looked up, the veil that happened to cover the statue of Empress Nuwa was blown up. Then, Emperor Xian wrote a poem, and finally, Bai Gan Shangrong washed it off with clean water, apologized, and left. As a result, the washed handwriting reappeared. No one else appeared on top from beginning to end. But that was already enough. From there to the spiritual light, Empress Nuwa felt the aura of a saint named Zhuanti. What is Zhuanti doing? Although Empress Nuwa saw that this was done by the saint of Zhuanti, her first reaction was not to be angry, but to think about the purpose of the saint of Zhuanti. In the realm of a sage, every word and action has its own purpose. The sage of Zhuanti did this, and once discovered, he formed a cause and effect relationship with himself. The problem lies here, why do even the sage, who is not willing to cause and effect himself, still do so? Even though the divine power is immanent and the heavenly secrets are chaotic, coupled with intentional concealment, Empress Nuwa cannot figure it out, but sooner or later she will still know who did this. So, Empress Nuwa was a bit confused. However, one thing can be certain is that blaspheming oneself is not the original intention of Emperor Xian, but rather allowing the sage to be mischievous. No matter what the sage Zhuanti wanted to do, this cause and effect was finally settled. Without thinking about the reason, Empress Nuwa's anger erupted in an instant. Why do Zhuanti and Western religions do this? Nuwa's eyes erupted in anger as she looked at Yi Fan. Yi Fan was almost scared to death. He was really afraid that Empress Nuwa would instinctively make a move, which would make him feel anxious and cool. Fortunately, Empress Nuwa did not take any action, and Yi Fan also showed enough composure. First, he put away the Xiantian realm and felt a movement in his heart. Shouldn't he say something? How do I know?
I'm not interested in your 6 saints and 4 cults, I just don't want to see you, a female saint, being played with. Yi Fan said lightly. This statement, with hints and guidance, means that in the 6 saints and 4 teachings, you, Lady N Yuhua, will not do this, and you will consider the rest for yourself. Empress N Yuhua is not a fool if she can become a saint. With the guidance of Yi Fan, I thought about the attitude of the saints in Zhixiao Palace towards the deity, and the relationship between Jie Jiao and Dasheng. Finally, I realized that the reason why Zhanjiao's saint took so long was to provoke my own anger. If you don't know the truth, you will definitely not let go of the big business. Even if you can't act directly, you can still destroy the luck of the big business. Okay, what a Western 2 saints, what a deity, actually calculated on my seat. Chapter 8. Starting to practice and catching eyes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After N Yuhua finished speaking, she looked at Yi Fan with a fixed gaze on him. This time, without this mysterious dust, I would have been used as a gun and would inevitably become a joke in the future. But Empress N Yuhua doesn't know this Xianxia, she doesn't believe that the other party will help her for no reason. No profit, no early rise. This is a truth that adults all understand, and how could Empress N Yuhua not know? Why do Tao Yu remind me of this seat? Yuan Yang couldn't help but ask. Is the person in front of me standing on the other end of Jie Jiao? The emergence of a saint in the wilderness is a great thing, and Empress N Yuhua naturally wishes to know his position. Moreover, if this matter cannot be handled properly, it will involve oneself. If one really needs to stand in line, they also need to know the other party's position. Why do we need to explain what we are doing here? After Yi Fan finished speaking, he directly exerted his million-mile divine power with just one thought. When N Yuhua saw Yi Fan disappear, she didn't feel much magic fluctuation, but she was thinking of finding Yi Fan and was nowhere to be found. Empress N Yuhua was extremely shocked. Why couldn't she even notice any trace? It has to be said that Yi Fan, who is forced to pretend, definitely deserves full marks. However, the name Xianxia has been remembered by Empress N Yuhua. As for now, Empress N Yuhua will definitely make Western religions pay a price. Empress N Yuhua wants others to know that she will have to pay a heavy price. In an instant, Empress N Yuhua disappeared into place. Yi Fan, who is forced to pretend, has indeed reached the ceiling level. Just as Yi Fan unleashed his mind for 1,000,000 miles, he only left a distance of 10,000 miles. For mortals, this distance is not too far, let alone saints. It was only with the help of the Hongmeng seal that the aura was hidden, and even N Yuhua couldn't find him, that Yi Fan's forced disguise was fulfilled. Yi Fan breathed a sigh of relief and finally came to an end, feeling exhausted both physically and mentally. Faced with Empress N Yuhua, pretending to be a saint as a true immortal and lacking in psychological resilience is a dead end. Fortunately, everything has come to an end and the result is still very good. In the current situation, it is impossible for the 2 Western sages to use the hands of Empress N Yuhua to cause trouble for the merchants, and Xianxia has no suitable reason. As for how the 4 saints will target the teachings of the truest, it depends on the 4 saints. Moreover, Empress N Yuhua will not spare the Western 2 saints, as they should be in trouble now. Yi Fan really wants to go and see it, because it is very likely to meet other saints, and even Hongjun Daozu. If encountering other saints, would you check in with all the other chaotic spiritual treasures? If I clock in on Hongjun Daozu, will I get the chaos treasure? Yi Fan was excited to think about it. However, Yi Fan still resisted the temptation. He was a bit hesitant in his heart. He was a true immortal, and in the face of other saints who might appear, there must be someone who couldn't get used to him or someone who could test him. Can he still see the sun tomorrow? Don't worry, it's only a matter of time before you see other saints. Meeting Hongjun Daozu is certain, and checking in are also necessary. You can't be in a hurry. The key in the heart is cultivation. With this in mind, Yi Fan summoned the Chaos Tower. Just now he didn't fully understand the Chaos Tower, and now he has time. Just as Yi Fan wanted to summon the Chaos Tower, he had doubts in his heart. Hongmeng's seal can help conceal one's breath, but it is only an innate treasure. Can Hongmeng's seal hide the breath of Chaos Spirit treasure? If the breath of the Chaos Spirit treasure appeared in the wilderness, in an instant, I'm afraid all around me would be saints. System, can I summon the Chaos Tower and the people of the wilderness discover it? Yi Fan asked in his heart. The sound of the system rang out. This system will help the host hide the breath of the Chaos Spirit treasure. Yi Fan smiled, and the system's dad was more considerate. With the guarantee of the system, Yi Fan did not hesitate and immediately summoned the Chaos Tower. A chaotic tower with a chaotic aura appeared in Yi Fan's palm. Yi Fan was taken aback. Is the Chaos Tower so small? By carefully understanding the Chaos Tower again with immortal knowledge, Yi Fan can be considered to have completely understood it, or in other words, to have understood everything that could be understood. The Chaos Tower has 9 floors, each with a different function. The first layer contains the law of time, and the internal time acceleration is equivalent to 1 day outside the tower and 1,000 years inside the tower. This is still the result of the chaotic tower's self-operation. If Yi Fan wants to control the operation, he needs to become a Hunyuan sage and understand the laws of the Tao of Time. He also needs to understand the laws of the Tao of Time to a certain extent. Fortunately, Yi Fan has a system that provides direct assistance, has been refined, and can freely enter and exit. But if you want to control, it's wishful thinking. The second level can suppress opponents. With a level of suppression, it can only be said that stop making trouble and work hard to suppress people who are 1 level higher than him. Abandoning this energy, Yi Fan felt that it was better for him to work hard to cultivate, sign in, obtain other treasures, and directly kill his opponent. As for the third level and above, let alone opening it, Yi Fan doesn't even have the qualifications to learn. However, the first layer is what Yi Fan wants now. Let's practice first. After all, we have obtained the 4-turn golden pill and the 5-turn golden pill, and the golden immortal should be stable. Fortunately, Yi Fan knew that the Chaos Tower was a precious treasure, so he flew directly into it. On the other side, Empress Nu arrived at Lingshan. And the sage of Zhuanti returned early. Senior brother, I have already confused Emperor Xian. He also wrote a poem that blasphemed Nu. According to the chaos of the Fengshen heavenly mechanism, combined with our concealment, it is impossible for Nu to discover it in a short period of time. I just don't understand. Why didn't my senior brother let my disciples from the Western cult intervene in the Yushu Palace? If Western cult disciples participated in the process of filling the list of gods, wouldn't it be a great achievement? The Zhuanti sage briefly introduced and asked for his doubts. The guide saint looked at the Zhuanti saint, feeling speechless in his heart. This junior brother is good at everything, but his mind is spinning slowly. The sage with a serious expression said, "Do you know that the list of gods is a great achievement?" "Don't I know? Why does he not hesitate to let his incarnation enter the heavenly court and not let his disciples participate?" Don't be fooled by the fact that you are a saint. You usually follow the arrangements of the receiving saint and use your brain to do things. Nowadays, when it comes to the introduction of saints, it's impossible for them to turn their heads. Seeing that the saint of Zhuanti had not yet reacted, he was very helpless in attracting the saint. We plan to cut off teaching, and now we can tolerate it. But if our disciples make it to the list, do you think Tong Tian will remain indifferent? The sage of Zhuanti shook his head. Since Tong Tian will not remain indifferent, the disciples of both sides will fight to the death. If Western disciples participate in it, there will inevitably be harm. The development of Western religions has not been easy to this day. If we don't do anything that harms us, we need to damage it, which is also a way to explain and cut off the two religions. The credit can be small, but the damage cannot be significant. Moreover, when it comes to the 3 cleans and internal struggle, we pretend to act.
At a critical moment, we are making a profit from our Western teachings. This attracted the sage's gaze with wisdom and calculation. But at this moment, the faces of the two Western sages changed greatly. Chapter 9. The first person on the divine list. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. It turned out that Empress Nyuwa had arrived and directly took action, even destroying Maitreya's 1,000-year cultivation. Maitreya was already the peak of the great Luo Golden Immortal, but his 1,000-year cultivation was destroyed. If he wants to become a quasi-saint, he doesn't know how long he will have to wait. Just now, Empress Nyuwa arrived at Lingshan and Maitreya was guarding it. Maitreya was originally a disciple passed down by the Zhuandi sage and should not have become a guardian. Unfortunately, there are not many people in Western religion, and even fewer can hold hands. Helpless, Maitreya can only do this job. Seeing Nyuwa's face turn ugly, Maitreya dared not neglect it and showed his iconic smile. Maitreya has seen Sherbwa before, and I wonder why Sherbwa came here with the Dharma frame. This was a very normal sentence, but Empress Nyuwa was already burning with anger, while Maitreya smiled. Empress Nyuwa immediately thought that Maitreya knew what was going on, which was mocking her. In addition, Maitreya was the personal disciple of the Zhuandi sage, and Empress Nyuwa snorted coldly and directly took action, giving her guidance to Maitreya. This cold snort may seem ordinary, but in reality, the Maitreya true spirit couldn't help but tremble, and was directly immobilized there unable to move. As for that finger, it naturally destroyed Maitreya's 1,000-year cultivation. Maitreya couldn't believe that all of this was true. When his millennium-long path was lost, no one could bear it. Master, what have you offended me for? Please let me know, Master. Maitreya said reluctantly. If you want to blame me, I can only blame Zhuandi. When Empress Nyuwa said these words, she had already grabbed Maitreya and flew to the entrance of the Dalayin temple. Empress Nyuwa is not planning to end this matter like this. At this moment, the two Western sages felt the arrival of Empress Nyuwa. They exchanged a glance and inexplicably asked the same question in their hearts. Did Nyuwa know? Shouldn't it be? Please come out of this seat, take the lead. Speaking these words, Empress Nyuwa fiercely threw Maitreya onto the ground. The two Western sages flew out of the Daliyin temple in an instant, and the Zhuandi sage was burning with anger. Maitreya is his own disciple, the only one who has passed down his lineage. At this moment, his breath is withering, and even if he hasn't died yet, there is only half of it left. Senior sister, why did you harm my disciples of the Western cult for no reason? The sage looked at Maitreya with heartache. No reason. What if there is no reason? Empress Nyuwa said arrogantly. The two Western sages never expected that Empress Dowager Nyuwa would say such a thing. They had never seen Empress Dowager Nyuwa so angry before, and for a moment they were somewhat stunned. Maitreya, lying on the ground, said innocently, Master, you must make decisions for your disciples. I don't know what happened, so I asked my senior uncle to dismiss me. No wonder Maitreya said that, he really doesn't know. Nyuwa, you have no reason to kill Ling Shan, and you are deposing my disciple. Today, you must give me an explanation. At this moment, even the senior sister of the Zhuandi sage is not being called. Faced with the questioning of the Zhuandi sage, Empress Nyuwa looked disdainful and said, abandoned. Has this seat ever said to abolish Maitreya? The two saints of the West have become the fruit under the tree of ignorance, with you and me in the fruit of ignorance. Maitreya is already like this, isn't it useless? What is it? Nyuwa, even if you're lying, you can't keep your eyes open. However, the sage immediately realized that Empress Nyuwa was not going to depose Maitreya, but to kill him. Maitreya, after all, is a disciple of the Zhuandi sage, and the successor sage cannot watch helplessly as he is killed. Nyuwa, dare you, exclaimed the sage with a loud shout as if she hadn't heard it. Empress Nyuwa appeared in her hand with 7 innate Lingbao Tianmong divine knives.
7 heavenly Mang divine knives emitted a roar and rushed towards Maitreya to slay them. Not to mention that Maitreya has already been deposed. Even if Maitreya has not been deposed, he is unable to resist the action of Empress Nyua. Besides, there are 7 heavenly Mang divine knives. In Maitreya's pupils, the 7 heavenly sky sword grew larger and larger, indicating that the 7 heavenly sky sword was getting closer and closer. Maitreya could only instinctively shout, "Master, save me." Take action at the same time as the Holy Spirit and the Divine Spirit. The two of them gathered their own magic and prepared to save Maitreya. Before the Western two saints could take action, a dazzling light appeared and rushed towards them. This radiance made the two Western sages feel a sense of crisis. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be the top-notch innate spiritual treasure of Empress Nyua, the red embroidery ball. Although the Heavenly Way sage claims to be immortal, the pain is still very painful. The Western two saints instinctively resist the red embroidery ball first. Since blocking the red embroidery ball first is equivalent to saying that the two Western sages have also been blocked, Maitreya's fate can be imagined. 7 heavenly Mang divine knives passed by, and Maitreya's body separated. One head rolled to the ground, and confusion flashed in his eyes. Maitreya didn't understand until he died. How could he die? Why did Empress Nyua take action to kill herself? A golden light suddenly appeared and swept away Maitreya's true spirit, and Maitreya was listed on the list of deities. Who would have thought that the first person to appear on the list of deities was not a disciple of the Chan sect or a disciple of the Jie sect, but a disciple of the Western sect, Maitreya? Looking at Maitreya's body, the sage's eyes turned red with a murderous intent. The two Western sages finally survived the initial calamity of the Dragon and Han dynasties, but as a result, their spiritual veins were destroyed and spiritual objects were scarce due to the war in the West. In the Lich Age, they became saints, but the situation in the West did not open up. They nestled in the West, and it was worth mentioning that saints shamelessly brought spiritual objects in the East, even being crowned as shameless saints. Until the end of the Lich Cataclysm, Western religions finally recovered a bit. I was originally planning to take advantage of the calamity of being a deity. They were trying to gain some benefits and strengthen Western religions, while weakening other religions. Western religions will usher in spring. Who would have thought that the first Western disciple to make it to the list would be a self-proclaimed disciple? The sage turned his gaze and stared at Nyua intently. Nyua, today you must give me an explanation. Empress Nyua completely ignored Zhuandi's anger, and from the beginning, she had no intention of kindness. Although I cannot kill the two Western sages myself, I must speak this tone. As for who is at fault, it depends on who is unlucky. Since Maitreya hit the muzzle, he can only be blamed for his misfortune. At the same time, it also tells the two saints of the West that if you dare to plot against me, I dare to kill your disciples. If you have a great sect to teach, I don't. If I take action, I have no scruples at all. If you have the ability, you can continue. Explanation. Alright, then let's explain. Why did you incite Emperor Xian to write poems and desecrate this temple at Nyua Temple? Nyua's tone may seem plain, but it is actually a prelude to a volcanic eruption. The two Western holy capitals are confused, especially the introduction of saints. This matter was personally handled by the sage Zhuandi. Even if there was no divine calamity and two people joined forces to cover up the mystery, Nyua Empress should not have discovered it so quickly. Why did she know so quickly now? Even so, the two Western sages do not believe it. If Lady Nyua knew about this, she must have guessed it. As long as they bite to the death and refuse to admit it, they will never admit it until the truth is revealed. As for the day when the heavenly machine appeared, the great apocalypse of the gods had become a foregone conclusion, and they had all the benefits they deserved, but it still cared about the yarn. Impossible, how could my junior brother do such a thing? The sage immediately retorted. The sage Zhuandi also knew that he couldn't admit at this moment,
senior sister, I never did it at all. It has to be said that the changes in the title of Empress Nyua by the Zhuandi sage have already revealed a lot of information. But Empress Nyua doesn't even eat this kind of thing. If you don't admit it, then I'll help you recall memories. Empress Nyua recalled 7 heavenly Mang divine knives and red embroidery balls and made another move. Chapter 10. The Three Saints Make Hands. The Coming of Hongjun. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. The anger of Empress Nyua could not have been quelled by killing a Maitreya, and the 7 heavenly Mang divine knives rushed straight to attract the sage to strike. Seeing that Empress Nyua had already taken action, the anger of the sage also came out. That's right, this matter was calculated by the 2 Western sages, and it was personally done by the Zhuandi sage. The question is, wasn't it unsuccessful? Besides, you have killed a Maitreya. He is the only disciple of the Zhuandi sage and the only one who has been passed down. What else do you want, Nyua? If we really take action, everyone is a saint, who is afraid of who? Nyua, you have passed. As he spoke, the 12-rank merit gold spirit appeared at the feet of the sage, with golden light blooming all over his body. However, when the golden light appears, the first thing to do is to protect Lingshan. This is their dojo, which was destroyed once in the past. If it were to be destroyed again, it would be a big trouble for them, and they would lose face even more. The golden light emitted by the 12th grade merit golden lotus blocked the 7-mouthed heavenly Mang divine knife in the hand of Empress Nyua. Moreover, the guiding sages also understand the principle that long-term adherence is bound to result in loss. If you keep fighting on Lingshan, not only will you be unable to let go, but if you are not careful, Lingshan may be destroyed. So, with a movement of the sage's body, he left Lingshan and appeared outside. Nyua, if you're making trouble without reason, then don't blame me for being impolite. The sage had only one idea in his heart, which he couldn't admit even if he died. The more the sage was like this, the more angry Empress Nyua became in her heart. A saint who dares to act or not. Empress Nyua snorted coldly and followed out of Lingshan, I want to see how hard your mouth is. At this moment, the sage of Zhuandi also came out. Hands on such a thing, even if you mention a saint, you won't be afraid, let alone the fact that there are 2 saints in Western religion. Since you, Nyua, are going to take action, then don't blame us for deceiving others with more. The Saint Zhuandi was surrounded by waves of majesty, and the dazzling Buddha light illuminated the sky. Nyua, today you have been deceiving others too much, so don't blame us for being impolite. After speaking, let the sage join the battle. Empress Nyua showed no fear at all, but instead sneered, okay. Today, I'm going to see how much strength your 2 Western sages have. With one hand, activate the red embroidery ball, and with the other hand, activate 7 heavenly Mang divine knives to attack the receiving saint and the Zhuandi saint respectively. The great war of the 3 saints is directly unfolding. Saints fighting method, having one more person will definitely have an absolute advantage. But the 2 saints in the West are different from other saints. Other saints were not too far away from the realm of heavenly saints, and with their great merits, they naturally became saints. But the 2 saints in the West are different. They were originally at a distance from the position of saints, and even if they achieved merit in their teachings, it was not enough. Later, they could only make a grand wish and overdraw their merits in advance, which led to their becoming saints. Now that our grand wish has not been fulfilled, our strength is naturally the weakest among the 6 saints. Therefore, Empress Nyua did not fall behind in the face of the 2 Western sages for a short period of time. Of course, as time goes on, it's not necessarily the case. How powerful is the voice of a saint, and how powerful is his magical power. Although the sage intentionally protected the Ling mountain, the surrounding mountains were instantly flattened. That's all, it's still caused by the afterglow. The key is that saints never die or perish, and none of them have the treasure to slaughter them. If they continue to fight like this, they have no head at all. The faces of the two Western sages are very ugly. This is our own territory. If we continue to fight like this, Lingshan will sooner or later be destroyed in the hands of Empress An Yuhua. As the sage was still pondering how to make Empress An Yuhua stop, a calm and serene voice appeared. Stop it. The sudden sound seemed dull, even without any magical fluctuations, but when An Yuhua and the Western two saints heard it, they immediately heard it, and even their holy power was inexplicably suppressed. The three saints are very clear that this voice belongs to Hongjun Daozu and is also the strongest in the wilderness. In an instant, an old man wearing a Taoist robe with a child's face and white hair appeared. This person is the founder of Hongjun Road. As soon as Hongjun Daozu arrived, the sage's head began to rotate rapidly, and his face showed signs of sadness and anger. He immediately burst into tears and said, "Teacher, you have to make decisions for my Western teachings. Sister An Yuhua indiscriminately killed Maitreya and even took action on my Lingshan. If it weren't for her disciples' hard work to protect her, Lingshan would probably collapse again." The saying, "another collapse," in the quote from the sage is a trick. Back in the day, when your Hongjun Daozu and Luo Gui fought, Lingshan was almost destroyed. Today, it almost fell into the hands of Empress An Yuhua. You can't ignore this kind of thing, can you? As for other matters, let's just pass them on directly, it's the other party's fault. All that matters is that the wicked report first. Moreover, Maitreya has died, which is a fact. Maitreya has not done anything wrong. The Saint Chuanti on the side saw that his senior brother had already mastered his talent. He followed him, who had been guiding the saint for countless years, and said, "Teacher, my Western teachings are too miserable. The only disciple who passed down his lineage has been killed. Please be the master and make sure that senior sister An Yuhua pays the price." As she watched the two Western sages play with their spirits, Empress An Yuhua snorted coldly and changed her tone slightly, saying to Hongjun Daozu, "Master, Zhuan personally acted in An Yuhua temple to bewitch disciples, causing Emperor Xian to write a poem to desecrate them. I beg Master to be in charge of the disciples. It's no use talking about anything else. Anyway, you must be plotting against me. I can't kill you, I can't kill your disciple. Isn't that just a disciple taking care of something? It is reasonable to bear the blame and suffer death. As for Empress An Yuhua, she believes that Hongjun Daozu will handle it impartially. After all, she is a personal disciple and the Western two saints are only named disciples. But Empress An Yuhua didn't know that in the hearts of Hongjun Daozu, the primary goal was to weaken the power of the Great Apocalypse and cut off the teachings. Although the Western two saints did this to calculate the power of Empress An Yuhua, it was also to bestow divine power and measure the power of the apocalypse. From this perspective, it is impossible for Hongjun Daozu to be fair. Sure enough, after listening to the three saints finish speaking one after another, Hongjun Daozu slowly spoke up, "This matter ends here. The Fengshen cataclysm is aimed at cutting off religion, and has nothing to do with Empress An Yuhua and the Western two saints. But if the three saints continue to fight, it will not be a good thing for Hunyuan, and Hongjun Daozu also does not want to affect the God-sealing cataclysm." The actions of Hongjun Daozu have caused some dissatisfaction among the three saints. For the two saints of the West, the Western religion resulted in the death of a Maitreya and the destruction of the surrounding spiritual mountains. For Empress An Yuhua, this incident was originally initiated by the two Western sages. Whether it was killing Maitreya or taking action, the cause was that the two Western sages were calculating themselves. If they didn't calculate themselves, they wouldn't be able to cause trouble for nothing. The sage was very unwilling and said, "Teacher, I teach in the West, but..." Before the sage could finish speaking, Hongjun Daozu's eyes showed a chill and his tone was icy. "Are you teaching me how to do things?" The cold voice made the guiding sage quickly lower his head and say, "I dare not." Suddenly, Hongjun Daozu seemed to have thought of something and turned to look at Empress An Yuhua, saying, "How did you know that Zhuanti confused Emperor Xian and made him write poems to desecrate you?" This statement attracted the ideas of the two Western sages. Yes, you said it was done by the Xindi sage, but everyone understands that if a Xindi sage does such a thing, it will definitely not be discovered. How did you discover it?